Welcome to Post Game Podcast. I'm your host, June. I got my boy B Foster in the building. How you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm feeling like a playoff team.
Okay. I mean, I feel that way too. But before we get into this, I want to remind everybody to subscribe to Bleachers Speakers on YouTube. Follow us for your audio fix on all the aggregators. Anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you can find us. Post Game Podcast, FFSN in the search. Those are platforms like Spotify, YouTube Music, Pandora. Anywhere you can hear a audio podcast, you can find us. Make sure you turn that notification bell on after you follow us on those platforms, and then download those episodes. I made a mistake. I titled this as 3/9/25 for the Weekly. Today's the 8th. So that is my fault. I will change it later. So if anybody's listening and get and say and just get the dates confused because of my mistake, that was my mistake. Today is the 8th. The title of the show is Pistons Weekly 3/8/25. Me and Foster has gotten into the habit, and I think this is going to be an ongoing thing where we do a show on Saturday morning or early Saturday afternoon for the Pistons Weekly, where we sum up what the Pistons did for the week. So once again, what's up, Foss?
Trying to get through this West Coast swing. It's been a decent start, but we did allow Mr. Harden to hang 50 on us. So got to clean that up.
He got off again last night. The Clippers played. I forgot who they played last. They played the Knicks.
Yeah,
and
I'm about tired of seeing the Clippers play at this point.
Yeah. So they he had a 50. Was it 51 against us, or was it 50?
At least 50.
And I know he got hit the 50 mark. That game right there, and it was regardless of the ending score, it was a tight game throughout. I think the biggest lead was 10 by them in the first half, but it was a close game. We even took the lead in the fourth quarter at one point. It was a really close game. They battled, and what happened was, in my opinion, it boiled down to this: Harden having 50, and Bojanovic, whatever his name is, he decided to hit threes against us, and he had been horrible from outside. And
he went 1 for 12, I think, in Detroit.
Yeah, but that was his MO all season. That he hasn't been shooting as well, but he had a great game versus the Pistons the other night. He shot well. He was the third scorer. The center went crazy. He had 35 versus Phoenix the night before, and
Zubac had 35.
Yeah, 35 versus Phoenix the night before. I figured he would be tired, and it was a back-to-back. He had 35, and he had another 20-point game. He had a 20-point game versus us, and he was very efficient. They just played a great game. That guy, Nunn, I underestimated him offensively. He hit like every three he was open for, and they left him open on cover, and he knocked them down, like didn't hit anything but net. So, but once again, hats off. You play the Clippers in LA. You give them a solid run for their money. There's no moral victories, but at the same time, I like to see this team of ours compete with everybody, regardless of the outcome. So, we got a tough one tonight too.
Yeah, this is a big one tonight. Had a couple of days off, but gotta lock in and try to get a dub tonight.
So let me ask you this, Foster. Now let's go back to the beginning of the week. So we filmed last Saturday. So let's go all the way back to Sunday. Who did the Pistons play this week up until the Clippers?
Did we play on Sunday?
I think we did play on Sunday.
No. think we play next on Monday against the Jazz. It's actually been a light week.
Yeah, we played the Jazz. Who
Yeah,
was after the
Detroit.
Jazz?
The Clippers on Wednesday
So we only had 2 games this week.
so far, but we got a back to back coming. We got the game tonight and one tomorrow.
Yeah, just for this Pistons weekly wrap up, that's what I'm saying. Those are the only 2 games we can discuss, and of course preview tonight. So during this week we went 1-1, blew out the Jazz. It was BTA versus the Jazz, as it should be. We owe the Jazz one from the from the when they came to Detroit and did what they did. And then played the Clippers in a hard fought. It was a hard fought game. I thought I don't know, it felt like they got a lot of calls. I don't want to make no excuses, but it seemed kind of one side. There was one call near the end of the game where Bernie got a tech. JB Bickerstaff got a tech. And what happened was they called travel. But then they awarded them a timeout. And they went to break, and JB went off. So they came back and shot a tech. It was supposed to be Pistons ball. And JB got a tech. But I wouldn't change anything that JB's doing. Stay fiery. In games of the past with Monty, it would have been like, oh, okay, good call, ref. JB's fighting for his players, man. And they're responding. They are responding. That's all I can say about that Clippers game, man.
Yeah, in the Clippers game, one thing that I will say, Schroeder had a great game. He was hitting threes. Because we had a few players miss some games the last couple of days of the week. Isaiah Stewart got the day off against the Jazz in a game that we didn't really need him, and Tobias was out as well. So players have had to step up. I think that we it was almost like people kind of forgot that Tobias was gone, but Tobias is a guy that in the second half of the season, he's like in the top 5 of plus minus. He's a guy that when he's on the court, the team is just in a better space because he's the ultimate glue guy. He does a little bit of everything, and after a slow start, he's really stepped up. So I think that the Pistons definitely, because we're not very, as far as spacing, as far as floor spacing, big men, we're lacking in that category. For one reason, because Fontecchio hasn't been great this year, but
he pissed me off too in that game.
But yeah, so with Tobias being out, I think that put Beasley in the starting lineup, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And because Asar moves over to the 4, and it leaves the firepower on the bench, lacking a little bit. So. Shooter did step up in that Clippers game. I think he scored 21 points, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull that up.
I just know he shot great. It seemed like he hit some threes, and that was what he was lacking when he first got here. And I said I would give him a few games first because he looked kind of now he's being aggressive. He's shooting it. He's shooting it. And he was knocking it down versus the Clippers.
Yeah, so he had 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. He shot 5 of 9 from 3.
Mm-hmm.
So he looked real confident out there. And Fontecchio had 2 points in that game. So
he shot an air ball from the wing, man, and it was from the corner, and it was like, bro, like. That's not what shooters do. You don't shoot air ball 3. You're a jump shot specialist. You've been known to shoot very well in the past. You don't shoot air ball 3s from the corner, bro. Especially when you're open.
Yeah, I mean when he's not shooting, I mean he's not bringing you very much on the court. So
Yeah.
If there was a way to make his 15 minutes a game evaporate, that would be great. I would not be opposed. I've seen people talk about to seeing what Lindy Waters can do. Hey, he's playing against his old team tonight. Give him a couple more minutes. He's knocked down some in garbage time. He's knocked down a few threes. So
I'd
yeah,
rather have Lindy out there than Fontecchio right now.
I mean, at least to give
Give it
him,
a try. Give it a
yeah,
try.
just to see, just to see what we got there. I mean, what do we have? What do we really have to lose here? The 2 points a game, a couple air balls, and errant attempts at at shots. Like, yeah, I don't think that I don't think you stand to lose very much by giving him an opportunity there.
But then again, for us, like we don't know what's going on in practice. Those minutes are earned in
Right.
practice a lot. So it might be one of those things where Fontecchio is doing all the little things and knocking down shots in practice and looking good, and then getting the game and just falling flat.
Yeah, I mean, Waters obviously doesn't have the seniority to come in and just command minutes out the gate, but just based on the product that I see, it's like wouldn't hurt us to give him some minutes outside of the garbage minutes where
Yeah, I wanted to tell him, man, hey man, you on some bullshit, bro.
yeah.
But it is what it is. We can sit up there and finger point all that. I mean, hopefully there's still time for Fontecchio because players heat up, and sometimes it starts late. If they heat up near the end of the season and it carries over in the playoffs, great. We don't depend on him to do a whole bunch, but if he can contribute some, that would be great. If not, it's time to give somebody else those minutes to see. And I cannot give this young man enough praise. I like what Arthur Thompson is out there doing. I mean, he's not the first leading scorer. He's not the second leading scorer, but he does a lot out there on the court defensively, finishing at the rim, rebounding, passing. He's the ultimate glue guy that's out there, and he's giving you what you're seeing every night. And I can't, like I said, that when he was last year, and I said he's a dog. We don't have that on the team. He's a dog, and I think once we know it's Cade's team, everything goes, goes catered to Cade. Cade's gonna be the main focus of the offense. You have Duran, you have Beasley off the bench. There's some players here to where he can continue this path, and the Pistons be comfortable with this role. 14 points a game is nothing to sneeze at.
Mm-mm.
And I'm saying that's what he's been averaging lately. I don't think that's his season average, but you can depend on him to, finish at the rim, play defense. His defense, that alone earns him a starting spot. The way he plays, the way he defends, he gives players fits on defense. Got a couple bad calls against him against the Clippers. They was calling some crap against him, but I wouldn't discourage the way he plays defense. That guy. I am an Arthur Thompson fan. He was definitely one of those ones that never got on my trade list. You can get something for him. No, he has a future here with the Pistons, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think that sometimes he can be a little clumsy. I feel like sometimes his body is moving faster than his brain is sometimes, because he every once in a while he'll smoke a layup where it's like, how did that happen? Or he'll where he's cutting to the basket and he doesn't know if he wants to catch it in the air or if he wants to, so I think he gets caught in that in between under the rim sometimes. But yeah, defensively, he's a guy that can guard, nearly any position. And he just, wreaks havoc out there. Like when that guy presses up and plays defense, you can see the indecision on the offensive player because I mean the dude is just built like he was built in a lab to play basketball. It's just that simple. So he's been a very good addition to the team since he's gotten back from that blood clot incident.
Yeah, he's one of those YNs we're proud of, man. Every team in the league got them YNs, man. We got us one, man. We got us one. Speaking of that, Mr. Holland. I would not discourage this man from doing anything that he's doing. We have to understand he's 19 years old.
Yeah, for sure.
He's 19. There are going to be some growing pains. What I saw versus the Clippers, he got beat a few times on defense.
He be getting burnt out there. I ain't gonna hold you.
And that's where I thought he was highly regarded I thought if he hung his hat on defense because the jump shot wasn't quite there, that he'd be on that trajectory to earn some major minutes. He needs to get back to being the defender that we thought he could be. But when he's running the floor, when he's finishing at the rim, and he hits his free throws for the most part. So this team is really, really young, right?
Yeah.
During 21? Cade 22. Oscar Thompson 21. Holland 19. Man, I mean that's young.
Yeah, Holland won't be 20 until July.
Yeah, that's young. Those are some young players, and you can build around those players, especially when you in regards to the three starters during Cade, Thompson. We have a bright future here in Detroit. We do. If we can keep this roster intact, stay healthy, these players aren't going to do anything but get better. Get better. How did Duran do versus Clippers? I remember him getting in foul trouble.
All right. He had 7 points.
Yeah.
3 rebounds and 4 assists. Yikes.
Yeah. And how many
he fouled out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew he was in foul trouble. And how many did the other whatever his name is?
Zubac had 22 and 11.
Yeah. So he showed out versus Duran. What did Isaiah Stewart do?
He had 10 points and 6 rebounds, 3 assists.
You know what I like about Stewart, man?
What's that?
And how old is Stewart?
24?
Yeah, young.
23.
Young.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, because he came into the league, I think, at 19 or something like that. He was pretty young himself.
And he has to have the longest arms ever because he blocks shots like nobody's business. And he can't be but 6'7", 6'6".
Listed at 6'8", so you know how that go.
He's probably, I would say he's 6'7", bro.
I've seen pictures with him and Cade, and they're like the same height.
Same height. Cade 6'6".
He's listed at, his wingspan is listed at 7'4". That's insane.
Yeah. and he finishes.
No, you might as well say 7'5", 7'4", 0.75. Yeah, that's. Yeah.
And he finishes like he will dunk on, you know what I'm saying? He'll dunk on people. It's like he's blocking shots. There are people that he's meeting them at the rim when they're trying to dunk. Clean.
Mm-hmm.
He's not on the arm or the wrist. He's all ball.
Yeah, you know what? They were smart to lock him in early because now, not that he's going to be worth so much more money, but just the way they got him out the way so they could focus on, the guys that they're gonna have to pay like the upwards of 20, because Asar's gonna get a bag one day.
Asar's gonna get a bag.
Yeah.
Asar's gonna get a bag. What was Beasley's night like versus the Clippers? He was quiet for a long time. He didn't score in the first half.
14, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks. And he was just basically.
And he had them 14 in the second half because he didn't score at all in the first. I don't think.
But he played 33 minutes. So he played like the most minutes outside of Cade, he played the most minutes on the team. It was pretty much Cade and Schroeder doing most of the heavy lifting.
Okay, now we asked about everybody's numbers but Cade. What was Cade's number versus
37 and 10. 7 rebounds. Really could have had a triple double. Yeah, he snapped.
Yeah. We got us a superstar here in Detroit. And there was, what's crazy?
What's that?
Last year and the year before, we didn't know it. We was like, he needs help. You know what I'm saying? We can't depend on him. I said that if Cade has to do it alone, he's not going to get it done. I still think that, but I think he can do it alone. It was the reason why I said that is because I didn't think he could do what he's doing now. I thought Cade was like maybe, a 20-5 guy at the most. You know what I'm saying? And in the NBA, if that's your leading scorer, that's just not going to cut it. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, it was different. If you score average 20, you was a beast.
Right.
But I'm thinking if this is your leader with Cade, and this was 2 years ago and last year, I'm thinking we need another person to lead in scoring because Cade can't do it. Now my sentiment is Cade just needs a compliment. This is his team. He can lead them in scoring. And then he's not like forcing to score 30. He's looking to get others involved. He will get you the ball. If you're open, he'll get you the ball. Definitely. He's looking from the time he gets the basketball, his head is up and he's looking to get you the ball at the rim. They started defending that lob when he gets in the lane to Duren. They started defending it. So what does he do? He just shoots it. And most of the time it's 2. If he gets that deep into the lane where he can throw that little lob, they've been defending the hell out the lob lately. And he just knocks it down. And that's what you want. You can't defend both of them. Something's going to be open.
Right.
Hold on. Let's take a quick break. When we get to talking about Pistons basketball, the time flies. Foster, we was at the 24-minute mark? It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
We'll be right back. If you're listening, you're going to hear some wonderful ads from our sponsors. If you're watching, give us like 10 seconds. Yeah, it didn't take too long. I want to do another quick, brief reminder. Subscribe to Bleachers Speakers on YouTube and follow us on the podcast aggregators for your audio fix. That's Postgame Podcast, FFSN in your search. You'll find us. Make sure you download those episodes. We got a game tonight, though, Foster, and it's versus a red hot Golden State team. I think they're 10-2 since they got Jimmy Buckets. We already had our issues with Golden State without Jimmy Buckets. So tonight will be one of those games where either we're going to look very good or not look ready. I think we're going to look good regardless. But this is not an easy game. This is not an easy West Coast trip. Curry is still currying, and he's currying like never before the past week. He's been cooking. He's been cooking. They're just a different team. And I doubted them. I said, I wouldn't have traded all that for Jimmy Butler right now. But I see what his value is when he gets to a team. And I didn't want him to be here. I didn't want him to be a Piston. I didn't.
I tried to talk you into it. You were like, I don't know.
Hey, he makes a difference. He's a difference maker because they were kind of, didn't know what Golden State was going to do. They was hovering around the 10th place, 9th place, and this, that, and other. They look like a top 4 team in the West right now. And that goes to say with in regards to OKC, the Lakers, Denver, and then everything else is up for grabs. And I think you have to mention Golden State up there at 4 or 5, at least. And they didn't look like that before Jimmy got there. And I didn't think I'm thinking you trade away Wiggins, you probably get and I said you get similar things with Wiggins and Jimmy Butler as far as the play, the defense, and and some of the scoring, but he's made a difference, bro. That was a trade I wouldn't have made. That's making me look like I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. That was a good trade, and we have to face that tonight, Foster. So, what is your plan? If you're JB, how do you attack this game? Do you run? Do you slow it down?
I mean, I think that we're at our best when we are getting out in transition and creating turnovers. So we got to protect the ball, and we got to try to, create some opportunities in transition. So I mean, a guy like Steph Curry is nearly unguardable when he's on. So there's no real true game plan to stopping him, but I guess you gotta try to limit what his supporting cast can provide. But I mean, they've been looking pretty good so far. The team is well rested. There's no reason to come out flat in the game. They haven't played since Wednesday against Golden State, so there's no excuse in that regards. But yeah, we should. They said that Tobias Harris is probable tonight. He's been out for the last 2 games for personal reasons. Stu should be playing. He played against the Clippers. Obviously, he just missed that 1 game against Utah. So we should be relatively. We should be, we're going into the game relatively healthy. So yeah, everybody needs to step up and do their job. I think that as far as our bench, I think that we have the edge there, especially with Beasley going back to the bench. I think that we have the edge in that category. Dennis Schroeder's going against his old team, so there's definitely an incentive for him to want to show out versus them. But I think that he's done a good job of creating stability to that second unit. So I think that's definitely an opportunity for us to take advantage. Is that our bench is much, we have one of the best shooters in the entire game on our second unit. So, at any given night, he can drop 25 on their head. So, creating turnovers, taking care of the ball, and dominating with our second unit.
Well, one of the things you mentioned was creating turnovers, right? Golden State for the past, I want to say 5 or 6 years, have been really careless with the ball. they turn the ball over a lot, but they're so efficient on offense that they, nobody's the way that their style of play. I don't think Steve Kerr is trying to change it. It's like, okay, we turn the ball over, but we score so well, you know what I'm saying? And we create turnovers. So he doesn't mess with that recipe at all. And I think the Golden State are vulnerable when you can defend them and cause turnovers because they'll turn the ball over. We got to be careful with the ball. We can't get into a turnover a war with them in regards of who's going to have the most turnovers. I think if we take care of the ball, we hit some outside shots because they are going to hit some outside shots. Curry is going to hit some outside shots. There's a couple role players that are going to hit some outside shots. They're not a threat in the inside. So,
Butler is probably their toughest guy. I mean,
yeah. But what I mean by that is, I don't see Duren having any problem getting to the rim. It should be a lot of lobs tonight. It should be a lot of rebounds for Duren. It should be Thompson going to the rim without any threat of a shot blocker. It should be one of those nights where we can get points in the paint and hit some timely 3-point shots. I don't want to get into a 3-point shooting war with them. But at the same time, Curry's going to get his.
They almost lost to Brooklyn the other day. That's crazy.
Yeah, Curry's going to get – they're not invincible by any stretch. No. But Curry's going to get his. We just need – let's say, for instance, let's say Curry hits 9 threes, right? If we can get 4 threes out of Beasley, which is not asking a ton, a couple out of Cade, a few out of Schroeder, we in business. If we just all we have to do is play some defense, create some turnovers, run the floor with them, I think we can get out and run on them. And it's like I said, it's not one of those games where they're invincible. It's not one of those teams where, I think we got a chance. And we just lost. What better way to turn it around? That Clippers game will be a mystery. Will be history as far as a thought if you win tonight. So I think so. And let me ask you something, Foster. And this is outside of Pistons basketball, right? Charles Barkley went on a rant the other night. Did you see that?
I don't believe so. No.
He's okay. Clearly, they're on TNT. They're going to ESPN next year. So he takes a shot at the people at ESPN. He said those idiots don't do anything but talk about the Lakers, Golden State, how great he said the Lakers are doing great. They've been doing great the past 2 weeks. Cleveland's been doing good all year. OKC been doing all year. Talk about some other teams. You know what I'm saying? All y'all want to talk about is the Lakers, and he said Lakers, Golden State. He said, but that's what those guys over there, and we're going over there to that crazy network. And Stephen A. responded to that too, and he was like, he said we are a sports network. We're not a channel that goes to the Matrix, that plays the Matrix movie after your show goes off. Oh. We run sports 247, and you're going to see some repetitiveness. He said Nielsen ratings are a thing. You know what I'm saying? You said you don't believe me? Go on your channel. He said go on your show. Talk about Cleveland for 10 minutes. Talk about whoever. He said another team. Talk about such and such for 10 minutes. OKC for 10 minutes. And let's see how your ratings go. Don't mention the Lakers. Then come back and talk about the Lakers. You'll see where the ratings are. People are only interested in what they're interested in. And ratings are a thing. You got to do what the people want. You got to give the people want to hear the Lakers. The people want to hear about Golden State. They're big fan bases. So you're going to talk about what the teams that the people want to talk about. So it was just, it was kind of interesting. And then I watched the whole Stephen A thing, breaking down the LeBron exchange, and that was crazy. That was crazy. Did you see it when LeBron went off on him?
Yeah.
And so basically he explained what that was about. And he explained what was said to him.
What did Stephen A even say to provoke him?
Stephen A said he didn't dog Bronny out. He just said he wasn't ready. And the person that could stop all this pressure was LeBron.
By doing what?
Talking to whoever, saying, hey, send him back to the G League, let him develop down there.
Oh, yeah.
He could alleviate because he's not ready. And he's not ready. He's doing very well in the G League. There's no pressure for him to go down there and play in the G League right now. And he gets a lot of flack when he's here because this is his numbers. This is what he's doing. This is what he's lacking. This is where he's looking lost out here. And the only person that can fix it is you. You just stepping in and said, hey, he's not ready. But there's this thing where you want him to be ready and you want him to be on the court because this is your son. And he said there was some myths out there that LeBron called him out his name and this, that, and other. And he was like, there was nothing of the sort. He just said, that's my son, man. Keep my name, my son. That's my effing son. That's my effing son. You know what I'm saying? So he was basically saying, leave my son name out your mouth. This, that, and other.
Like that's not his job.
Yeah, and that's what Stephen A said. Stephen A said, I didn't talk crazy to him because that wasn't a player venting. That was a father venting.
Right.
So I let him get that off. He said, but I'm sad because I stand on everything I said. And what I said I felt was true. Then you had other people commenting about what he did, right? Kevin Love had some tweets to say he broke that tweet down. It was some other stuff he said. Somebody else. Draymond Green has a problem with him because of that, because of what he said about Bronny. And he said it's crazy because he said, I'm going to tell you something like this. LeBron don't F with me. We haven't had a relationship 20 years. He don't really F with me like that. And I don't F with him like that. So, and that's okay. We don't have to be friends. I'm going to do my job. He said, but me and Draymond was cool.
Right.
We had a, so for him to have an issue with me because of what I said and me doing my job, I got a problem with it. It was kind of crazy, bro.
I gotta go grab my charger. I like this thing about that.
Go ahead. I'll take a quick break and then I'll get back and I'll put it up.
Get your lick back. If a nugget gon' do something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. Get your lick back. If a nugget gon' do something, ain't no chit chat.
All right. Until Foster gets back, you just got me. Whether that's good or bad. But before Foster gets back, I want to remind everyone again, subscribe to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube. Make sure you following us for your audio fix on all the aggregators out there. Just type in Post Game Podcast, FFSN, follow us, download those episodes. That YouTube channel that we've been building is getting close to 250 subscribers. We need to get to 300. We're behind schedule. So if you're a subscriber and you're listening, you're a subscriber and you're watching, if you haven't subscribed, do so. If you have, go check out some of the content. Like, comment, share it, tell a friend about it. That helps us get into the algorithm. And more people will be more apt to subscribe once it's in the algorithm. So, and there's a lot of stuff going on. We got player profiles we are doing leading up to the NFL draft. We do old school feature profile on different players. That's where we give our perspective and throw out some stats about up and coming players or old school players. The draft, the NFL draft is coming up. Foster has prospects that he's doing, NFL draft prospects. We'll be doing basketball prospects after the season. So, and then you have both shows. You have on all three shows, you have Bleachers Speaker that covers Detroit Lions. You also have post-game podcast covers the Pistons, and you have Corner to Copa covering the Detroit Tigers baseball team, and they are underway as far as spring training, spring games. It's a lot of stuff on there. If you're a Detroit fan, you got to subscribe, you got to follow, you got to watch this stuff, man, because it's a lot of good stuff. Foster has 3 jobs here. He's on 3 different shows, man. You gotta check it out. You gotta check it out. I am excited about baseball season because it's the season. That means it's starting to get a little warm. It's weather's starting to break, and when you think about baseball, you think about you think about the sun. You think about going outside, outdoor stadiums. You know what I'm saying? So it's an exciting time, and there's going to be a moment where basketball and baseball are going on at the same time, and those are good times. So, and then next week we got NFL free agency. So we will be there's a lot of stuff to watch next week for sure. Welcome back, Foster.
Hey.
I went into a little rant. I was trying to, make sure you was good, get this out the way. But I think we've done enough, in the words of Calico. I think we've done enough. I want to see if you'd like to put a bow on this.
Yeah, so the Pistons are currently 35-28. They are in the 6th position in the Eastern Conference, only 2 games behind the 4th slot that is being held down by Milwaukee. And it is really in 1 game behind the 5th spot with Indiana. But it is shaping up for that last 2 games we have against Milwaukee in a home and home to be a very important game. And I'm going to tell you what, if there's any type of implications coming down to that last game, LCA is going to be a sold out crowd if we can. And I anticipate us continuing the momentum we have right now. We also have an opportunity to set a nice precedent for the next 5 games by stealing a win in Oracle Arena against Golden State tonight, because we have the Blazers tomorrow and we have 2 games in a row coming up against the Washington Wizards. There's no reason why we cannot finish at least 3-2. But no, what is that? 1, 2. No, that's 4 games coming up. At least 2-2. But I'm hoping to win them all. But 3-1 would be great against those guys. I mean, the Wizards are awful.
When are the Wizards? That's the 11th and the 13th. One of them is 3-1-3 day.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are 2 games back to back. There's a split day in between, but they play and I know this because 3-1-3 day is on a Thursday, and I know they play the Wizards. So Tuesday and Thursday next week they play the Wizards. Those should be 2 wins.
Right. And in the Blazers, they got blown out yesterday by the Oklahoma City Thunder, which is not crazy, but I think their entire starting lineup was sitting. And Aaron Wiggins was out there, not Andrew Wiggins. Aaron Wiggins was out there balling. So, the Blazers are playing for next year. The Wizards are playing for next year. Big game tonight, but we have an opportunity to make some way. You got teams like New York who I think they're on a 3-game losing streak, and Jalen Brunson is going to be out for the next couple of weeks. So they're going to be struggling. They're probably going to continue to falter a little bit. So we'll see. But yeah, Milwaukee is on a nice little winning streak, and New York is on their way down. And also, the Pistons have a comfortable 5.5-game lead on Miami, separating us from the 7th spot. So we're in a pretty good position right there. Malik Beasley, if you've been paying attention to his social media, said that Tobias Harris is getting the entire team suited up in preparation for the playoffs. And I'm talking about suited up in like actual, black tie affair suits. So, hey, for whatever reason, that excites me. I'm like, okay, the fact that we can talk and guarantee a playoff position with 20 plus games left, and the vet coming in to set the tone, like this is how you operate as a playoff team. Like if that don't give you the feels, man, I don't know what does, man.
Yeah. And I'm gonna put icing on the cake. This is non-basketball related, Foster.
Okay.
I'm looking at the temperatures for the next 3 or 4 days. Sunday, high 51. Monday, high 58. Tuesday, 58. It's a high 58. Wednesday, 45. Thursday, 53. Friday and Saturday, 57. So it's going to be really decent around here. The YNs will be out when that weather break.
See, why you got it?
Hey, man, this is the Detroit area, man. You know how it is when the weather break. One last thing, though. I'm going to tell you a funny story when it comes to Detroit, right? 2020, pandemic time. And we had been on lockdown. And when I say lockdown, Governor Big Gretch, she shut everything down, closed everything. She even put a restriction on people being out in public places. I don't know how, I can't remember exactly how the rules supposedly were, but there was no movement or little movement supposedly between people going outside. All the businesses were shut down except for like grocery stores and gas stations. But for the most part, it was a lockdown, right? So the first the nicest day of the year in 2020, in early 2020, was around April or May. And it had to be about 70 degrees. And it was a Sunday. We had been in the house. Told my wife, let's go outside, right? We're just going to get in the car and we're just going to drive. We go downtown Detroit. Never seen so many people outside walking on Jefferson, no mask. And this was a time where if you didn't have a mask on then, people would look at you strangely. Mm-hmm. Like I've seen people get into a fight about not having a mask on at that time. And it was people walking. I mean, it was so packed and there was nothing going on. It was just the nicest day of the year thus far. And we had been in the house for a couple of months. So that's how it is in Detroit, man. People get outside when the weather breaks, and the Pistons are outside. We are outside. What's up? You know what I'm saying? Make sure you subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube.